apartheid government. But to date, many disparities continue to marginalize women from the greater participation of our economy. The severe underrepresentation of women in various economic sectors and in decision-making positions in the private sector demonstrate the urgent need for intervention to improve the status of women in our society. Well, Phindile is manager at Komati Plant and the author of Leadership Navigation. She joins us now on the SABC News Desk. Good afternoon, Phindile. Always such a pleasure to have you on the desk.
It's a pleasure to be invited by you, Keshni. Thank you.
Phindile, a push to have women participate more actively in our economy, but legislation and facilities still very much a challenge. Tell us why.
It is a challenge. I would say legislation allows it, and legislation is very much open to women empowerment. However, when you look at women and the manner in which South Africa runs the business, it renders the facilities a challenge so far. And when I talk facilities, I talk all resources that are available for women in the workplace. The challenges faced by women in the workplace, I normally categorize them into three, which is your legislation, which is your gender quotas that companies have to adhere to. That creates the first and foremost a challenge for women, because when they are appointed, they are seen as appointed for the numbers. It might be the same as for the racial equity, but for women it's even worse. Now, as a woman, you have to prove yourself within that first 3 months, which you have to go an extra mile than any other counterpart or male. And the second one is on the issue of facilities, where most companies, especially in corporates, the facilities are there for women. But going into industry itself, you find that the facilities are there, but the most important thing that you look at is your bathrooms, nothing else. No daycare centers. That is a facility for women. And you cannot separate women from kids or from children. If I have women and men under me, I've never had a woman coming to me and say, Phindile, can we look at my salary? Males, they will challenge you. They naturally are competitive. They want to be better than everybody.
On that note, Phindile, how should women be negotiating their salaries? Like you pointed out, many women still struggling on that point. If one is too forceful and assertive with employers, employees sometimes are turned off. And like you're saying, many women are rather coy about that. So is it really our socialization coming into play here?
It is socialization coming into play, but like I said, same as facilities, the industry needs to look at how do they change it to accept women. Now, in terms of salaries, I'm not even going to begin and advise women on how to negotiate their salaries or their wages. It has to be the industry that change. It has to be the industry that says we look at merit. You negotiate or you not, your merit will talk for you, because as women, we are performers. Most companies, especially in corporates, the facilities are there for women. But going into industry itself, you find that the facilities are there, but the most important thing that you look at is your bathrooms, nothing else. No daycare centers. That is a facility for women. And you cannot separate women from kids or from children. To me, is a challenge, because the workplace must be willing to accept women not only for the numbers, but with these facilities as well. And the last one is the challenge of perception. There is a perception that women are emotional, women are irrational, and as a woman, you still have to walk an extra mile to prove yourself. So basically, we still have a way to go, but I cannot ignore the fact that South Africa has gone an extra mile, and South Africa has achieved a lot. And let me tell you, the industry is ready, and the industry does make strides to accept women. The challenge comes in when we have to, as women, go an extra mile outside the working hours. If you look at lower levels, supervisory levels, management levels, you'll find that a lot of women are there. The problem is, as we grow through industry, you now have to put in more hours. You now have to compromise taking your kids to school. You cannot make that an excuse. You have to compromise being at the sports day for your kids. So you might think that industry is not ready or industry is not welcoming, but industry is. It's just the environment you live in.
Phindile, in your new book, Leadership Navigation, you speak about reclaiming the stature of leadership. Talk us through this briefly. What do you mean? And of course, all this taking on new impetus during this month, because a generation ago, we had strong youth and women coordinated protests, yet we're not seeing a youth or young woman as fiery, as passionate as they were a generation ago. How do we keep our youth, and more especially our young girls, more engaged at this point?
Thing is, if you fight against oppression or something negative, you fight as a team and you fight for a common cause. In leadership, you are placed there alone. And mostly new leaders, which is what my book is all about. New leaders are afraid to say, I don't know, what now? Because you find maybe you are an engineer or a lawyer or a doctor, now you are made a manager. You were an expert in your field, well known as an expert. But as a manager, you are an immature, you are a novice.
So this is where grooming and mentorship would come into.
That's where difficulty is, and when you go to your mentor or to your predecessors, they will tell you that, just focus, it's easy. You go to leadership courses, they tell you about leadership styles. You go to other managers, they are busy, it's hectic. There is no one who will take you with a guideline. Tick what you need to do. You get an office, you get a big office that you can be comfortable in and manage. But what?
Of course, there's something else I want to highlight quickly. The reality facing many women today is that many want to perhaps take a break and start a family, have a baby or two. And then often a woman is forced to return to the workplace for lesser pay. Why is choosing to have a child still seen as such an anomaly almost in the workplace? It doesn't mean that one loses your skills or capabilities because you want to have a baby or you've just had one.
I'm just going to have one in
Congratulations, I see that.
Yeah, it's one thing is you don't lose the skill. You come back to work roughly after 4 or 5 months, at most 6 months. You haven't lost anything. And I would say to women, if you feel disadvantaged, I mean, our industry and legislation allows us to challenge the status quo. So you need to know who to talk to challenge such. From what I've seen based on my experience and what I see in industry is that the laws allow women to be on par. It's us who are still taking a step back and not coming to the fore.
Phindile, very quickly, in a nutshell, how would you define exceptional leadership, and what are some of the qualities and skills one should be developing toward that goal?
Exceptional leadership in the book in chapter 3 is both leadership and management. You find that the silent generation was focusing more on management. Now Generation X and the millennial kids are looking at leadership. But believe you me, you cannot do one or the other. You need both, and you need to balance it out.
Phindile Moketsia, I do wish we had more time to chat. It's been a pleasure having you on the PM News Desk. Moving on to other news now. 6 elderly